Hello, and welcome to this, our Week 8 discussion on leadership. I'm Jonathan Heilman, and over the course of the next 5 minutes, we're going to be discussing some of the themes of leadership and how they apply to me in my role as a flight line expediter. We'll also take a look at some of the different facets associated with leadership, such as decision making, and I'll give you my personal insights as to how I use them in my role as a flight line expediter. So without further ado, let's take a look at the things we'll be discussing. First, we'll take a look at the role of the flight line expediter and detail their roles and responsibilities. Next, we'll take a look at some decision-making models and processes, including the VYJ and rational decision theory. Next, we'll take a look at some external factors affecting expediter decision-making, such as communication and emotion. And finally, we'll take a look at the future impact our decision-making approach should have on the role of the expediter and the organization. First, let's take a look at the roles and responsibilities of the flight line expediter. A flight line expediter is a mid-level manager assigned to each of the flights or sections of an aircraft maintenance unit, in my case, the specialist section. This position is typically filled by a technical sergeant who is an expert that has been working in his field for anywhere from 9 to 15 years. Typically, a flight line expediter is assigned anywhere from 10 to 20 personnel from across different maintenance specialties. The main role of the flight line expediter is to organize and direct his personnel to accomplish all of the scheduled and unscheduled maintenance tasks on the aircraft assigned to his unit. Much like a foreman from a construction site, the flight line expediter keeps a listing of all the tasks that have to be accomplished and then utilizes the personnel that he has serving under him in order to accomplish all of these tasks. And oftentimes, they must make decisions based on incomplete or incoherent information. With that in mind, let's next take a look at some of the decision-making strategies that can be utilized by the flight line expediter. The first decision-making technique that I'm going to propose can be used by the expediter or managers is the VYJ model. VYJ is a decision-making process that's used to enhance the quality of decisions, and it has been shown to help supervisors make the correct choice based on the situation. In a nutshell, VYJ poses a series of questions in order to help the manager arrive at a decision-making method. Now, it's important to note that the VYJ model does not tell you what decision to make, but rather how to make it, whether you should collaborate with your team or make a more autocratic decision. That's the most important part of the VYJ model. It will identify situations in which team input is needed for decisions so you don't leave your team out in the cold if their input is needed to make the decision. So here we can see an example of the VYJ model. You can see it's really kind of a flow chart where you start at the top, ask yourself the questions, and then depending on your answer, you move your way down. Now at the end of this, it'll give you a method for making the decision, such as autocratic, collaborative, or group. And like we said earlier, it's not going to recommend how to make a decision, or what decision to make rather, but how to make the decision, whether you should involve other people or make the decision yourself. Now when it comes to actually making the decision, my personal recommendation as an expediter to other managers is the rational decision theory. Rational decision theory is based on a rational actor making rational decisions, so it is subject to biases. However, it is a 6-step approach from identifying the problem, choosing a solution, implementing the solution, and reviewing the results. Now, the thing about rational decision theory is that you can use VYJ to tell you how to make the decision, and then you can use rational decision theory to determine what decision that you actually make. So far in our discussion about leadership, we've gone over the roles and responsibilities of the flight line expediter, and we've discussed some different decision-making techniques that I propose can be used by a flight line expediter or really in any managerial setting. But as any leader knows, leadership doesn't happen in a vacuum. Certainly during the course of my career, I have experienced how external factors can impact the decision-making and interpersonal relationships that are so critical to a leader's ability to motivate and inspire their people. While there are any number of external factors that impact a leader and their ability to lead, we're going to look at 2 that I think are the most important for a leader to manage if they want to be successful. So the first external factor we're going to look at that affects leaders and their decision making is emotions. Now, effective leaders are those who develop and manage interpersonal relationships, and we recognize that emotions play a central role in the actions, opinions, and relations of all workers and really have an impact on these interpersonal relationships. So then we can say that managers must utilize emotional intelligence in order to mitigate the effects that emotions have in the workplace. Effective managers are the ones that can manage their emotions and the emotions of those around them and still make the correct decision for the situation. Managers should have emotional intelligence, and we can define emotional intelligence as the ability to understand emotions and their effects and join emotions with reasoning in order to make sound decisions. And the second factor we'll take a look at that influences the expediter position and any manager position is communication. Effective communication is key in a business environment, and it really is key to the expediter position and really to any manager. Ineffective interpersonal communication leads to a breakdown in relationships and trust. We've already established that interpersonal relationships are really a key of a leader. In decision making, effective communication can make the difference between success and failure of a decision. So the future impact of using decision modeling on the expediter position and managers is that decision modeling can optimize the results and help avoid biases in leaders' judgment. Utilizing these decision modeling techniques that we've outlined here can streamline and standardize the process by which decisions are made. So if we're going to hypothesize what the outcome of using these decision modeling systems would be, the end result should be that sound decisions and judgments increase the effectiveness of the leader and their subordinates within the organization. And that concludes our presentation on leadership, decision modeling, and the expediter position. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and thank you for your time.